species value nature system. This is about the nature of volume, the value of sexes as the nature of volume, not just with yin yang. The proofs that yin yang was revealed with English simultaneously. This is about the identity the sciences share as a value progression perfect that we must understand as an identity of value progression, identity of value. This is why we have the identity of value discernment with the sciences. We have this obfuscated, have the sensibilities of the sciences recorded, subordinated to fact treatment, also subordinated to all complete systems. Only let be negative value nature relationship, identity of relationship that the identity that is onto all things at once has onto itself, which is either positive or negative. So this is the identity that is the value and value of relationship to itself. That is the ability to make an invention. And then simultaneously as what makes that invention positive or negative, work or not, good or not, different ways, all at once. Further, making it positive or negative further, all at once. What is positive to the finite, to active body of value, simultaneous nature, and progression's value all at once is also positive. This identity's identity of relationship to itself. And so the Santa Claus is about how this nature of volume is filling. This is about how we are unceasing nature of quality of diffusion, positive or negative, in relationship to this identity. So value G, see the English as letters, they're only physical value because they are nature as value. And that is only value because identity is value. So, so this is about how we are in the four directions share an identity. For example, they also share a little bit more of the value of that complete nature as a little bit more of its identity nature coming through as perfect value progression positive, enabled by what causes more of it, that positive or negative relationship to a little bit more of its complete identity coming through. We have a complete identity that has positive and negative to our progression. Where and how it is when we know what is when we're in the conversation about what is positive as positive, true always, and not denying any exceptions, because then this is value discernment. We are fact treatment nature because that is in value relationship to the only complete value nature system. That is the only complete one that's going to really, that our fact treatment nature has obligations by, as a quality of fact treatment nature that has offensively been prevented since semi-ancient times for interpseudo sciences pretending other sensibilities natures, roles preventing free speech and identity thefts, anticipated to and as the value of all spots, of the identity of all spots, negative value nature progression, specifically to maintain life progressions to all formal spots, victim predators. Forgiveness was for this. It's about an organized crime conversation, about what the Old Testament, what the Quran are about criminally re-engineer human fact treatment nature because we lost the quality of Campus Marcius. that was valuing, that was our species valuing that, valuing invisible body of value discernment, and valuing individuals' discernment as a Trinity nature. Simultaneously make sure it's right, positive right to left, positive left to right, and positive overall up. And where and how prayer is an element of science that is actual using correlation nature as a Trinity, which is discerned as this. We have each age of fact treatment nature raised valuing fake sides of fact treatments, fake middles, in relationship to their fact treatment nature, their convictions, and so opinions in relationship to the quality, the integrity of the FBI. We have the integrity of our agencies recorded use as breaching weapons, identity thefts. They're pretending that cooperation, because they have physical delusions that mixed with criminality because of how they've been with a whole bunch of nations using what is manifest to this. Suit and tie nations counters to it, still victim predators, valuing the back parts of the Quran and of the Old Testament written in English, you know, and or the New Testament because they're taking and not even letting understood, obfuscating quality fact treatment nature, the sequence treatment nature, the first parts of them, the first part of the Quran, first parts of the Old Testament, because not nowhere formally, too. All victim predators has sequence nature, its revelations that allow discerned. Free speech has not been permitted. This is the problem with the child offenders. The same groups maintained child elderly offenders, maintain natures of positions in relationship to only let realized original and progressed exploitation of types of experts. Whereas now they can't defend this, kept and keeps everyone like that invested to types of experts left trained, uncharged, victim predators, make attaching convictions to recorded reality and making up reality more and more because they have done that. And then they had the high lie progressions with areas. So we have standing lie progressions in a racket that was already anticipating that. So as each age preemptively making confessions, out of sequence making confessions, vertical and horizontal, fact treatment nature, value transfer, where the only value of transfer is positive or negative relationship to itself, the identity of perfect value progression. That is also, so it's not just coming in right to left always as an identity greater than temporary slash lasting space nature, as an identity coming in and simultaneously left to right, distinctly and not distinctly, and overall up, and where and how Earth's simultaneously distinct and non-distinct relationship to the rest of space nature. See the period in the comma about the distinct and non-distinct relationship that the identity of all things has unto itself. Bach sings of Saint Self in Allah's name, written in English, and this is science. This is not denying the Quran. This is denying all modern religions' receptions of themselves for their receptions of human fact treatment nature relationship as victims of criminally re-engineered sciences from off campuses maintained on off campuses maintained manifest propagated criminally foreign influenced branches of states and areas. Simultaneously, the identity of the ground, all positions maintain criminally foreign influence, the same thing. All that the whole time mixed in with private intercampuses like psychology and stuff like that, originally still first a human value nature system racket. So in other words, like a human fact treatment nature racket, where our fact treatment nature is a system. It is value to the perfect value progression. So this is a organized crime method that our history is really about. I'm not a police force, I'm not a criminal, I'm not a lawyer. It recorded how they use lawyers too, but to make fake sides of issues, to make fake middles, all criminally foreign influence to it, all victim predators, as fact treatment nature, conviction natures, as justifications of that, as fact treatment nature styles, not free speech, and as tools preventing anyone from quality of fact treatment nature free speech, as fake passions, aggressive with aggression, and worse, even murder, and with fake care, with as fake care. So as fake attention to details, as care to attention to the details, all as criminal insidious natures, tools, per what George Washington and our founders had to leave entrenched in the North with overt slavery right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, even with the French general's help. Database organized crime, identity theft racket against everyone, forced roles. You can't treat that and heal that properly with a quality fact treatment nature unless you're treating it as a simultaneous nature. In other words, what it actually is. Otherwise, you're keeping it blamed on other things, not others, not selves. And that's keeping invested natures only realized when the employment's private. Again, and them themselves, this is how that's maintained. Like Russia and America have psychology associated with Justice Department corruption and worse than criminal incompetence with their little themes. With like in the past they had a ropes program. Now these are people long-standing prosecutors and stuff invested, already knocked people into jails, already tortured them there, already then recorded with crimes outside of the jails with the jail people, on and off campus identity thefts, natures of crimes with offensive evidence reception predators, forging names, switching names because they can't do these are hiding from presidents. The only people, how much time does a president have? When they have constantly 50 states, right? Territories, Puerto Rico, other countries sharing policing of campuses, on and off campuses, per them, demonstrated, recorded, facilitated, to, little subtle, insidious illusion stacking with offensive evidence reception predators, recorded delusions, raw intersciences, because this is interbranch too. From off campuses maintained on off campuses, keeping each age of fact treatment nature, fake sides of correlation nature valuing per what really is no new and keeps per method the needs for investigations of all kinds of natures maintain manifest on areas. Orchestrated timed uses of overt criminal enterprises and of the witness protection program and of the director of the FBI, defendant former director Luskin, in a 2006 case that came about because of proven on time stamped, on timely stamped, properly on time documents before the Ninth Circuit, the day of the Trade Center attack. But they were showing that day post dated from inside the court. Someone had post dated, someone or a group of people have post dated things to appear late before the panel of judges in the Ninth Circuit, right before the attack that day. There were also other ways criminally involved leading up to that, and with same interstate actors and their family members criminally involved. Some as per them online CIA family. The reason they do this such online too because they got caught with things. Then they need to sequence shift. So they're pretending they copied what I said because they used people that I don't know at all, but I know of, and people that I barely know, and people that I know, like only just because every once in a while they'll have for short periods of time, all exceptions criminally exploited, recorded actually, you know, the nature of relationship between me and a house in my area. And the house is also tied to them with people from my grade they used to hang around with. I don't even know their names. Some of them in the area, and then other ones involved with this with campuses with child offenders further. See, but this is tied to live progressions and need for it with foreign and domestic police forms, jobs that are fact cheap in nature, identities of law that can't defend that and us from what is exploiting how we are in nature of volume, how we are value as groups and as individuals is value in demonstration of how there are sexes is in demonstration of a nature of volume. We are together. Individual is a nature of volume. Grouped is a nature of volume, like sexes, in demonstration of this, because that is inseparable from all parts of itself at the same time, and the value of it, which is gained value here or forced from here, Leith of Hadith. Heaven and hell come from this, because we're our quality of fact treatment nature as semi/perfect memory, and as some we'll examine how to think. Not a doctor. We'll examine the physical delusions, intersciences, especially with psychology, because there are crime methods, and then recorded men and women, recorded with men and women interbranch, forging names, switching names, tied to all the rumor spreading. Because at the same time, they're typing things into databases that are connecting to various natures of courts and their treatments of issues, and where they're told to not speak medical information. They're forging the doctors' names and attaching fake conversations with other ones that were raised, spreading rumors, lies, with foreign and domestic facilitated illusions with interbranch drug clicks, identity theft clicks, originally and still. Natures of fake sciences valued by fake live progression standing formal natures formally. States and areas of each modern nation in identity of negative value nature progression trap since semi-ancient times. Our founding fathers' identity stolen. Mao Zedong's identity stolen. They don't like autocrats, because of a theater on each age of fact treatment nature, raising criminal insidious nature, believes it needs to be. It was liberated. It was never liberated. It was recorded, even if this wasn't cipher. If CT doesn't mean cherry tree, because George Washington said he could tell no lies. So he did chop down the tree with James Madison's plan with them, and they made a new nation. But as with the sick nations, there were still a whole bunch of nations forced shared. They couldn't defend their titles with that. And from what was it right through that fluent, distinctly and not sickly hurting each nation perpetually for a method to keep each nation invested, needed to blame the causes of other things on themselves, especially per how they had to hide their life progressions with this, using criminal justice systems that, like Santa Claus, St. Nicholas was put in prison through interbranch psycho natures of government. That's what we had color in there then to keep now what they have. Each modern nation worse than criminally incompetent, incapable of explaining what did that, because they have the fact cheating nature slavery of our founders. They have what requires both democracy and a dictator and or chief, which is distinct. So we have criminally foreign influence and needs to hide it. Each age of fact should be nature raised to formal treatments. It's like worse than a gun, or it's like same thing. And torture. It's against each surface value of the Constitution. These are fact treatment. So the reason the value of male and female is manifest. Yin yang. The reason the yin yang is manifest value is not just because they're an identity greater of it coming into it and going out of it and filling it, but as it's filling more and more of itself, it's feeling more and more of a positive or negative relationship to itself. So we're like positive or negative experience in relationship to, we're positive or negative forever nature, complete, perfect value progression as identity, as value. And so this is onto all parts of English. And it's also in demonstration. It's not what's subordinated like the physical body. It's not what's independent like the main verb, but it's where either semi-nature or complete nature of identity is in demonstration of complete nature's identity and identity of relationship to itself. Now, there's a nature of science as science, requiring a quality of fact treatment nature that is allowed to report sequence shifts in the branch's roles with crime methods, originally still not let demonstrated, because they're not letting free speech, because they're torturing if you try to mention this. People in the Britain Superior Court were shown evidences and made aware of their police involvements with uses of Facebook and uses of the databases with the courts campuses and with on and off campuses. Identity theft clicks through time, connected, and with crime methods recorded, insidiously preventing means to ground counters to it, to the identity thefts, and within as them roles within as behavior crimes, because they have interbranch police and military ones, foreign and domestic, all the families tied with this, private and stuff like that, all kept needing to hide the same life progressions, just need to hide their actually recorded natures and roles with crimes like untimely deaths, criminal uses of the context of that, to have the investigations for that are being used to invest people to the defenses of quality of fact treatment nature through only realized, victim predator reactions and roles. But where's some reactions? Because this is not reaction, this is affects nature. If you drop blue dye into a clear body of water, fish tank, it's going to semi-diffuse. Now this, as what lights the halo or doesn't, is still, there's no such thing as semi-diffusion. The second that blue hits the water, it's either lit or not, but it's completely through it. There's only one complete system. There's unto and as all things, boxings, beyond. The sciences share an identity. Mandated law means to report things. There are statements made pictures taken of um, Bill Cosby's jail cell that are recorded demonstrably tied to crime methods, acts, and natures associated with Sandy Hook investigators, doctors, and interbranch police forms, and then policing of that tied to criminality with Justice Department, with Washington, and with Trade Center ties intercampuses, and further with next to the with the Southstein Middle School confessed and recorded with child offenders, medical associated with child sex offenders. Also, there's a Chet Casper and a Casper family. I don't know his sister's name. I only know his name. He's associated with identity thefts. He's associated with downtown Hartford around the time of Greg Kyler's reported murder by shooting, real or made up, because they have that real made up news also recorded, used to discredit people talking about real things when we're noting a pattern, when some of the things in the pattern are made up news, specifically so they could pretend not to realize, like their criminal uses with various niches of agencies in their police forms, with child offenders, with interstate Justice Department, live progression cover up racket natures and needs, motivations to hurt kids of each age sequentially and progressively, and as roles in a sustained way, tied to how we have so many misprision groups reliant upon covering up their own lies, their grouped lies, not just the ones with family members, and together, and that maintained in collusion with a whole bunch of other nations like Russia, especially with psychology, recorded physical delusions juxtaposed with all kinds of crime methods, with interbranch offices, state judicial branch offices on and off that campus location, if that's referred to as campus too broadly, and on and off the houses next to it, with a Fianza family, fake news crime acts with WFSB, recorded and confessed, involved with the sexual harassment and the identity thefts of women and kids. So they're recorded and confessed involved with crimes with who they implied was Modern Pastry family. I don't know if that's who it wasn't clear, because WFSB they were not fixing their identity theft crime acts, fake news crime acts. Fox CT also recorded and confessed being coached to identity thefts with people that attached me in fake conversations, fake relationships, never had a class with them, but them tied to a recorded drug crimes of mixed natures of crimes with kids per interbranch uses of campuses, confessed and recorded, connected through time too, even to a middle school class with a Rick Shamfion I had nothing to do with. After he graduated high school, he confessed and recorded that they'd been involved with a New Britain Superior Court criminally through time since they were kids, with drugs and things like that, and with other people on Two Rod Highway and off of the Two Rod Highway, associated with those Fianzas and with the state judicial branch office area criminally, and with this Dylan guy and his family, recorded and confessed involved with the new and past neighbors, with the intercampuses child offenders further, with uses of their own kids, interbranch, and military, foreign and domestic associated with this. Kuwaiti military associated with also with the prison cliques and the religious cliques with the jails and stuff like that, with the sensibilities of overt criminal enterprises associated needing to hide the same finite active body of value and progressive lies and sequence shifts, with passion crimes, with identity thefts. That's why they need the passion crimes with the Joey Quest because they're recorded crimes with various natures of courts, families, with identity thefts. All exceptions of me knowing them are contexts where they were building, having built fake signs of correlation natures, identity, fake middles, and with physical delusions, and with criminal foreign influences of overt criminal enterprises associated with these families, and and the crime method of pretending it's just undercover when it's not that, because they're recorded with crime acts and cases, criminal uses of databases, worse than perjury, standard. Already, the same way they have killers with shootings and stuff in areas, these are gangs made as pseudo counters, fake sides, fake difference, same middle, needed to hide the same library, because what really maintains no science original our founders left us to demonstrate criminally foreign influence, tactically denatured relationship to nature, Hartford, slavery rolls, Wethersfield, slavery rolls, with the same spots, using the same crime methods. Everyone's think they needed people to blame what really is keeping negative value nature progressions, all life progressions, and people blaming the causes of it on other things, on others, on themselves. What really leave people stacking in a dump between them and the Connecticut River, not by accident. People stacking criminally exploited for interbranch, recorded because the fact sheet in nature we're in is a value transfer system, tactically ulterior from the ones we're in, not by accident, to keep each formal nation, each formal suit and tie, each position of campus, each science from off them originally. This divided Native Americans, having them blame each other and selves and other things for what everyone is doing as planned since semi-ancient times. This just reminds, like religions ask, but they're not let science. The qualities of fact-achieving nature to the sequence nature right up front, they're not let. What are you going to do then? Or you didn't read the whole thing. We have a sequence shifts that show lies. We have fake sciences, fake integrity since founding. Correlation nature has simultaneously inherent, active, and progressive means. One way redeems. Please read the Santa Claus. This is about this nature of volume. We have sections so that we can see this in nature of volume, the Trinity, and Allah. We are value nature inside, values nature, perfect progression. See, this was stolen, and they knew that other would be maintained, self-defended, valued self-defended, because of the nature itself. This has nature. Identity is perfect value, but identity is also identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that is nature, which is positive or negative in relationship to itself, nature. Now here, I'll drop the force. Boxings, it tells us things. You must read the Santa Claus one way alone. Ancient Snow People, ancientgamingsystem.com. Just tell your dad, your mom, your brother, sis, your lover, kiss. So there's three natures of longing and the value of them at once. Boxings to campus dance, return the name. Campus Marcius needs the name at once. We play no game. It only feels like game. Who trains? Who sees? Campus Marcius rises in the breeze. So I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And this is also always the course. And it shows when we have women just trying to be equal, they're fighting with what's unequal, offensive, defending offensive evidence perception crime roles, defending justifications of that convictions personally together grouped. They can't defend us and us in the same time from what's exploiting that originally still. Religion failed. So we have maintained means right fluent through our nations because we have maintained manifest crime methods with fact treatment nature that are outside of courts because they were standing originally criminally foreign influenced with the areas criminally foreign influenced too, with all private tied to them criminally foreign influenced, but that maintained self-valued by them. Blame specifically as a design to keep everyone as Oz, valuing that, valuing making others Oz, valuing keeping divide and conquer physical or metaphysical, not the complete counter to the identity thefts. Method, which is a torture method, which is a not permitting freedom of religion, which is them conscious, which is a crime method maintaining them with psycho defenses, ill defenses, and or criminal insidiousness defenses of the back parts of the Quran and of the first part of the Old Testament, out of sequence, not by accident. When our nations first met on seas and stuff like that, or in other words, there's fake care and there's hurt. It's fake, in other words, there were proofs that whiter pigmented flesh came from north, and whatever. There are proofs, inseparable, undeniable, that English was revealed by natural sciences before that came as a quality of sophistication, a nature of sophistication, before the one only realized, reliant upon contrast and forsaken sophistication, methodically prevented sophistication for the defense of that. As fact treatment nature and systems, tactical ulterior from fact treatment nature's actual system course in things, boxings. It tells us things. Prepare the species nature volume. So we have natures with the concept of autocrator. I'm not an autocrator, which we need. We have autocrat. Per only let realized worse than criminal incompetence in relationship to what sanctions are really connected to. With recorded criminally foreign influence delusions raw each modern nation's agencies, legal natures, intersciences, and together. How long they're recorded and confessed. They admit online that they have all these problems with Russians, spy gens. All through time they had problems with them. But then they forged names and fake conversations with me. Our side rolls with them like a Leahy family, a Dr. Brendan Leahy. because I had to raise my voice because of the way I caught them with child offenders, with the Dillon family, and with women offenders, and interbranch, and they know this. They hid that, and because they also arrested me because I was in a, as it means a whole bunch of times with fake, because they kept pretending they make mistakes and things like this, because they're sequence shifting each time because they know I caught them, recorded dead cold, with identity thefts, all kinds of natures of crime acts since the sequence, since before the Trade Center attack context, in that entire context, and since interstate from Connecticut, from CCSU on off at criminally involved, from on off Trinity College, criminally involved, on off the sensibilities of shipping families in the area, even down to Coca-Cola, even down to people associated with education, things like that, fire departments that came in, that were facilitated, that sensibilities natures used by criminality with various natures of agencies and their family members and overt criminal enterprises associated with the area, and witness protection program that they use criminally. Also with the co-defendants, federal criminal co-defendants, one with a daughter migrate, recorded and confessed involved with crimes with a whole bunch of people with CCSU and Trinity College, identity thefts, sequence shifts, with a whole bunch of people associated with police forms on and off that through time with all natures of crimes. These are they scare kids too, and these are courts inter with also with the Soto family, with the police chief's immediate and extended family, recorded and confessed crime rolls with the rest of the child defenders and the one they forced, with the principal sex offenders campus, and with other campuses further recorded and confessed with men and women, even women judges, recorded with crime acts, forging, switching names, preventing voices, attaching voices to fake conversations, fake sequences, fake ties to others, even little kids. It's one thing to have experts, to need to have experts, but then to have experts furthering what's supposed to be experts against and not letting it recorded because they're experts and pretending that's a proof and pretending things recorded. It's a problem. That's a problem. So the Wethersfield police recorded with like misprision, sexual harassment, and identity thefts of Saudi families, intercity with various natures of police forms, on off CCSU with crime acts, leading up to a 2006 case with a former director of the FBI, defendant Robert Luskin, and with his co-defendants like a Thaddeus Grabowski, criminally involved with people confirmed by him also, and with Chuck Hasper, downtown Hartford, Fox CT crimes, crimes with two Mendez brothers, identity thefts when they were kids with drug clicks, attached me to fake locations, fake ties to them, fake conversations with them, fake relationships. There are ties with the extended family member of a house in my area with a Ray Cololo, who has a cousin named Phil Cololo that Bob Chase recorded and confessed involved further criminally with his evidence crimes with them, identity thefts, attaching me to fake conversation, fake locations, and relationships with this person behind my back through time, criminally, all kinds of natures of crime. Since he was a kid, crime rolls with black and white and with identity thefts, with sequence shifts, and with database crimes, as database crimes. Also recorded in all these ways associated with the Washington Trade Center corruption, associated with the state judicial branch office criminally, and with people on off to Rod Highway and Hangdog Lane, sequence shifting, pretending I knew them before that I did, etc. In other words, through time. then they have all the sensibility of everyone, because then you have that. Once you have that, then you have them need to hide their lie progressions by using standing positions in relationship to what judges can do with their pleas, which is how they got them criminally involved leading up to the 2006 case. And with various natures of crime confessions of also various natures of judges, criminal uses of their courts, criminal uses of lawyers, of pretended integrity to that there never was, reliant as victim predators upon wars and or upon the kind of things that have sanctions, like Russians and Americans, fake sides because their crime methods and roles with psychology, their physical delusions with psychology, their identity theft rackets that spent their life growing up spreading rumors about people, discrediting people, calling people liars, approaching them as liars, and then what they're going to get, little kids, you approach them as a liar, you're going to get a lie. You see what I'm saying? Then they're pretending that means something. This is not by accident. This is keeping each age of fact cheap nature forsaken, just like areas. See, that's not our means. There are cars going right by cities every day, right by Hartford every day. You could have given me, just for example, you could have given me and like 10 guys the right to just ignore zoning laws. We would beg. We would get a tractor, something like that. We could have built paradise for free for Hartford. That's why there's gun violence. Because correlation nature science does not let demonstrate what's really the cause of negative value nature progression and how those are being valued. Because theater positive can only do that. So you see the ancient snow people about this course on ancientgaming.com. But you will learn so much here on youtube.com/user/Romulus Wall. I teach you all for free. This is the Lost Course Returns. Who learns? So we need to take a position with, but also completely for people who are, so I don't know if this is mixed with undercover, what kind of positions they have to maintain in relationship to negative value nature progressions. Again, breaching method maintained, blamed on other things other than the other cause of selves already. And that value already. That is manifest natures of convictions, quality of fact shaping nature, manifest, entertained already. As science is not science. It's not free speech, because when someone wants to demonstrate this since pounding drums, lawyers were used criminally. Their motivations to not besides their non-debatable motivations were they were told to treat law as type of law. And this was slavery. How many types of law? Extortion, torture, child abuse, elderly abuse, murder, dismemberment, sick things, boxings. Because that was maintained to maintain the nature of nations locked together as suits, dies, and counters, saying, think I'm not him or her. Going for title, identity of lie progression nature, role, tool. Our founders, fact, cheap nature, slavery maintained, criminal insidiousness nature denied. Demonstration of it. Marbury versus medicine doesn't mean lie. Pretend that we're justice. Real justice means satisfying all appearances of real justice. What's what's pretending is justice as various natures of courts associated with each age of fact treatment nature, with what unfolded with what they call education, tactically divided, tactically denatured results maintained consciously per what is maintaining live progressions originally still tied to anything formal, even fact treatments. The obligation, you can't tell our history and pretend not to understand that and how there is exception nature tied to every truth, tied to every fact, and has a gaining nature of volume. See, CNN wants us to lie to them so they can then kill us as roles with CTV media recording, stealing our identities to fake conversations to hide live progressions for interbranch families, police forms through that raised misprision needed to hide identity thefts, illusions, spreading lies through girls I never even was in the presence of, like Alison Mulcahy, recorded and confessed, involved with two Domain brothers, two Mendez brothers, with crimes interbranch, and with other police before that, criminally involved intercity, interbranch, forging names, switching names, pretending things recorded, pretending me to fake locations, pretending me to fake natures of relationships to them. Crimes with even female judges forging, switching names. Crimes with sex offenders. They use that to force a sex offender. As crimes with Sandy Hook recorded. As their crime rolls recorded, facilitated with family members in my area. Also, other extended family members of them also criminally involved, like a Scalora family in Phil Colo, with the two Mendez brothers criminally involved, with the corner of, and with the police chiefs, retired and the one standing, and his immediate and extended family, and the two bakeries on Franklin Avenue. Fred Grisey also recorded and confessed as a stranger who didn't even go to school with me, who I filmed because of it. He's tied to live progressions and criminal uses of middle school and of a eighth grade summer school class they put me in with the house I'm talking about, with the person that came in when I was in fourth grade into the where the reportedly the previous police chief's girlfriend used to live, with a dog that was crazy trying to kill little kids. Enough of me. So they have extremism, and they have each of the nation. They have states and areas entrenched with the religions. What would they say they are nuts, so they can discredit people with psychology. They're doing this with Russians and Americans using mental diagnosis, whole faked conversations. That's in conjunction with Justice Department recommendation. They have laws where they can take when they have doctors who can say, "Oh, I can just look right away and judge something." In other words, they're doing that to make things up, forge names, switch names, to hide their life progressions and their crimes with houses in my area. Again, this is various natures of agencies associated with director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and then criminally involved with the Trade Center attack context, and leading up to it with the same criminally involved with them intercampuses before that. And then in that context, so they're reliant upon those crime acts with databases and coaching of witnesses that don't even realize what they're being, in other words, they're attaching everyone to fake positions. And recorded in conjunction with Mueller a whole bunch of police forms that are physical delusions, raw, live progressions that reveal them associated with predicate acts, which is 10 years in jail. male crime facilitated by a criminal enterprise, like the Trade Center time, predicate acts with male crimes associated with the Leahy family, and their crime acts with child sex offenders, and this interbranch with them. Various natures of courts involved with them with this. These are natures that are behind really what's bringing the stream of courts into courts each day. Exploited people then hurt more constantly. This is keeping the natures of the people working in the prisons how it's were even recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how to maintain criminally foreign influence, victim predators. Needed to hide personal misprision, personal grouped sexes, even misprision, criminal uses of each age of difference, right through DCF, recorded degenerates, per value nature system, lost time uses. Everyone relying upon experts, notions of integrity to lead directors of everything. That never was. It was only in relationship to retreats or forwards, forced, not independence. The president tries to even defend nationalism, can't even put a ground on nationalism, let alone approach a quality of fact-achieving nature necessary to even let Native Americans free speech. They have so much entertained that they can't entertain that and speak free speech at the same time, not by accident. They can't defend themselves. Same as our nation. Each modern nation is in states and areas maintaining defenses of quality of fact-achieving nature, value nature transfer, rackets roles as offensive evidence perception predators, preventing free speech, preventing mandated law, playing tricks with fact-achieving nature. That's recorded because there's sequence shifts here with Connecticut courts. Crimes here with Connecticut courts with Russian families. Medical with fire departments pulled into it. They pull each other's into it. They make each other's nations want to get caught because they need to hide their criminal foreign. The Mueller is blaming what the FBI is recorded already involved with crimes with Russians with database medical corruption, natures of corruption associated with Joseph Mengele, associated with why George Washington had his fact-achieving nature of slavery, forced to leave slavery, entrenched in the North. Worse than criminal incompetence in relationship to what forced color. Specifically so they can maintain sensibilities incapable and or discerned and then heard out correlation nature, incapable of discerning our. The only reason they have the power to it, they have the campus. Value nature relation as identities value. If you don't understand that, then you can't understand the only semi-nature of it. That is the grouped manifest value of why sexes are everything's in demonstration of the same identity of value progression, of the same identity of relationship to itself. That is science actual, bonded onto and as the quality of our fact-achieving nature. So we have aggressions forced in sustained ways with forced fake care. And we have notions regarding the integrity of experts of types of things that have recorded delusions rotting, criminally foreign influenced, and sequence shifting, and identity theft crime acts roles, because that's the only way they can pretend that other is believed by themselves. And this is also because they have various natures of courts and their family members and the people that work for them involved. criminally through influences like making confessions, making influenced statements, offensive evidence reception crimes, pretending to perceive things to mean things that they don't, making things up. These are also people recorded and confessed various natures of court criminally involved with the end of the Berlin Turnpike, and with that guy there. I think his name is Stephen Alexander. I don't know if I hope I didn't mess that up because it was two Stevens. But I remember thinking, hey, this guy's got the dark hair. And that's also the place next door to it. A Joey Quest and a Fred Gouget recorded and confessed involved crimes with the Weathersfield police chief and with the clique, with the house, with the extended family members, Phil Club and Subby Scalora and other Scaloras recorded and confessed involved further with child offenders on and off the principal sex offenders campus and with drug crimes. Drug crime rolls with an untimely death on Trinity campus tied to all kinds of other crimes. Wire crimes, mail crimes, forging names crimes. That's also tied to crimes with a Leahy family, forging my name, attaching my names to their forging doctors' names. So attaching everyone to fake relationships, to conversations with them through time behind my back. I don't know that I ever classed with them. I noted online the exceptions. The recorded criminally misinterpreting everything consciously, purposefully, and with physical delusions. So we have all the experts on physical delusions propagating them, not by accident, to have that defended. So when we come to sense and sensibilities, before we even get there, we're going to have the approach to what Alpha and Omega is. Not just bonded by, not just the value of that bond, but how we are nature of volume. Okay, so I don't know, someone liked it and why left. I don't know why you left. Oh, you didn't like it, just was there. Someone was there and left. I wish Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody of the species value nature system. So, religion try, we try traps. Say Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. CHRISTMAS. This is about the value of sexes. Actually, the identity. Pathetically. Obfuscated. I'm sorry about the typing. Merry Christmas. This is about the value of sexes. It has the value of identity, actually. I'm losing my voice. The sciences share an identity methodically maintained value obfuscated worse. And if someone ever hears the end of this, how does someone, what if someone wants to sing someone else's lyrics? How do we do that? I see people doing that on YouTube. I know you're not supposed to do that. So, like, we say I wanted to sing a song, which I'm not going to do because someone else's lyrics. I don't want to sing only my own lyrics, even though I have. I'm TuneCore though, with see Little Rap Guy and friends with Sep can rap. Sep, see Little Rap Guy, he's not jealous though, because Little Rap Guy is all about rap. But then Sep comes around, he's got the best rap voice. See, these are the little cartoon characters that are counter extortion to the extortion of the value of women and of men and of boys and girls. Each age of fact, human nature per method. Maintaining all roles to motivate it to it per life progressions. There's a method that's keeping misprision reactions that are adapted to because they're exploiting the effects nature. We are each age of fact, human nature, right through experts too. We have criminally foreign influence branches and areas, and all private tied to them, from off campuses and state on off campuses, preemptive and active, inherent active and progressive, and sequential identity theft roles. The effect is making people value fake sides of the identity of correlation nature, which is Trinity's identity, a little bit more and more of its identity, and which is its distinct and non-distinct relationship to itself because it's invisible, but it's therefore so discernible both through science of and as a quality of fact treatment nature. For example, with the law regarding criminal insidiousness nature, which is with and as the subject, and as subject matter inseparable from the nature of the discussions in the news. You see, they have experts on that as types of experts, all kinds of ways influence, also with precedents originally and still. Recorded again, fake sides of correlation natures with convictions, justifications of that per case law, recorded a crime method left by our founders to demonstrate criminally foreign influenced delusions raw, forcing the wrong outcomes in cases per tied crime methods be used to deny it, like forging names, switching names into branch, switching names in sequences. But note the switching names too, because they're just preventing grounds to counters that aren't going to be attached to roles, blaming the real causes of negative value nature progressions and of past and standing lies in databases and with people's sensibilities, formal and other, so that they can't pretend other and follow the rules. So we have to do it online. They're recorded, incapable of it now. I would have to entertain with the Weathersfield Police Department is recorded to use for sexual abuses of each age of fact treating nature. Using Facebook too, it's a branch. Ulysses Ranch. See the Webb Stevens house, we're gonna put a counter bond on this. The Webb house / then they changed it to Webb Stevens house. See how to make America great again, MAGA, you have to understand that and how our fact, human nature, slavery of our founders was tied to the Webb House. Right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, was tied to what left had to leave slavery in the North. Even down to the force. The obfuscating what force is really about, which is about the source Allah, which is about what the value of the bond of the Trinity. This is being obfuscated because they already have invested states in area valuing out of sequence the volume of the simultaneous what they're talking about, which is about the nature of the law. Sanctions about the nature of treatments with the criminal enterprises, organized crime bodies associated as criminal insidious with criminal insidious nature. Now, this is what made modern nations criminal insidious nature. They can't be legalized. Victim predators say other, recorded how influenced to it by a crime method originally instilled. So these aren't means what we could actually afford, and these are not a free systems. Through time, they criminally don't let demonstration of opinions dishonest and delusions wrong with their uses of dictator. See, because they're not dealing with actual finite true facts, active body of value truth at the same time, and progressive values are true at the same time. Identities, progressive value true at the same time, sequence true at the same time, which simultaneous nature's value. We're trying to be that. It connects with the nature that makes it happen, and it becomes more and more valuable here. Otherwise, it's forced away, lethal IDs, force-based nature transfer. Nature, our nature of volume's relationship to itself. All things are in demonstration of the same exact identity of course. I'll drop the force. I speak of source alone. Bach sings. It tells us things. Prepare our souls. The species coach who says what tolls, the longest tolls, damages. We have to all think exactly Native American. Then we come to the zoning laws, invested agreements. So we have to cut out the reciprocal. I don't know if the president said that. We have to cut out. We're all in the same trap. That's that discerning, admitting that is the science of instant evolution, of instant means. When Wade redeems, they're going after Mao because he was a fact human nature slave, or not slave. He was a fact human nature identity theft because no one had free speech. First of all, because they didn't have phones. Second of all, because everyone came through criminally foreign influence sciences. Because the species volume was no longer valuing its volume, finite, active body of value, and species volume together. And in that order, when it's in the other order, we're negative value nature, relationship, per the perfect system, the only complete system. This is why the all semi nature is in demonstration of it. There's a little bit more, the only semi nature that's completely positive forever nature coming in Two. And gaining with and as and through the volume here, or gaining with and as and through forcing the volume from here as negative value nature relationship to a little bit more of its semi nature with it. So alpha and omega, the two sides of a magnet. You see, put the two magnets together, they attract or they push apart from each other. Shows polarity nature. Shows not only a bond between them, but an identity of it just shows an identity of relationship between them that is simultaneously distinct and non-distinct from the identity of the two ends of the polarities of the two sides of the magnet, containing the body of value that is with the energy and with the magnetic, the electricity. Take electricity, put it into metal, becomes a magnet. Becomes polar because everything is a demonstration of the same thing. Vaccine. Time is being used slow and fast, simultaneously, consciously, but only understood by the branches through life progressions. As life progression cover up natures, needs, and styles to hide their own fact treatment natures, simultaneously with defenses of their notions of integrity originally still. Doesn't hurt feelings. What is it? Very simple to demonstrate pseudoscience with color treatments. What really influenced people to opinions with Jim Crow concept originally and still. Concept in relationship to criminality that was with the transition from Alca to Rico, tied to our nation's collusion with the Faenza family, with body dumping spots. Criminal uses of that and of the actors associated with it, real or made up news, because those are people with crime acts roles, with illusions, with area offensive evidence perception, also crime acts tied in cases, and with the drug clicks interbranch, identity theft clicks through time, with sequence shifts, fitting misprision by fitting roles to it, sequence shifts that are tied to behavior crimes. Because now you have to pretend things, illusions that justify. Because when they do this in cases, and or when they're talking about or are going to try to perceive things, they're also simultaneously having facilitated and facilitating themselves for juxtaposed, methodically maintained ulterior needs to hide line progressions, all offensively and other. These are long-standing shared on and off campuses policing, training of policing of each nation, training of identities of each nation's branches and of sciences that is in collusion there and here to keep and keeping naive pseudo-positive, pseudo-qualitative fact-cheaping nature, sanctions, and or war, simultaneously inter-sciences, simultaneously same nations already in collusion with all kinds of sick crime methods and natures and uses of various crimes for all that tied private to the branches and like hospitals and like camp and like fire campuses and like prisons, not just kids campuses, but age of fact cheaping natures in this trap. So we need to have mandated law followed. And when they're pretending people are making things up, we have to have a means to counter. We'd have someone to say, "Oh, you're lying." They're preventing that by pretending things are recorded, and by forging names and switching names into branch, by crime acts inside the cases, inside the courts, criminal uses of juries per people associated with various natures of courts criminally involved with Brendan Leahy and with his father, Brendan Leahy, and with them stealing my identity, attaching me to the fake conversations with them. I never had one conversation with either of them. I explained the time the guy tried to attack me because I didn't want to have a conversation with him. Then he said the only thing he ever said to me was if I wanted a nicotine patch. So because these are medical corruption people. They're also identity theft clicks, drug clicks with various natures of courts, crimes with child sex offenders, also further involved with houses in my area, with their family members, but facilitated to indirectly, and with people associated with the fire department families that they had attached me to fake conversations, fake relationships to them. Per crime methods recorded doing this. See, they knew I had them caught with child offenders, untimely deaths tied, various natures of real estate crimes of real estate companies intercity, associated with my new and past neighbors with the Dillon family, a whole bunch of people still tied to them, crime acts at each campus database I went to, then criminally exploited with the principal sex offenders campus, with more tied to that, and to the middle school and to other campuses intercity, tied to this through time. It's not just undercover naturally. It's not legitimate Washington Trade Center to areas. Sick. It's not legitimate intercity intersciences. They were always pseudosciences. They never had the integrity. So, but just by admitting that, that's one thing. Then you allow free speech. Then you allow freedom of religion. They're maintaining states and areas fake sides because they're maintaining the sensibilities of religions incapable of defending that, and of allowing science to demonstrate what they're really about, which is an organized crime. A whole bunch of organized crime rules juxtaposed, criminal seriousness natures, low and over criminally re-engineered campus marcias, ancient a value of ancient sciences, sharing excuse me, sharing not only this identity, but this identity of relationship to itself and the value of that, progressively, increasingly, unceasingly. Here, she means appear. To read the Santa Claus, I play no games, trains. See, we have fake sciences, then we have defenses of debatable offensively. That's why you have to allow mandated law to report recorded criminals when they're recorded. Don't let them pretend others recorded just because they're judges, just because they're the families associated with the prosecutors. Always recorded, maintained degenerates on off campuses. Criminally foreign influence victims but predators. And how? Recorded. But it requires not people making overall, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. I'm talking about crime acts. Then when they're forging names, switching names, the judges, because they're crime acts roles, hiding their crime acts with offensive evidence reception already with areas, already with this Dillon family, already with sequence shifts, already as one's tied to a sequence shift in the Ninth Circuit Trade Center at that context. Intercity already tied to recorded more crime acts with databases, with perception, with illusions. That's why they had a Mendez family brief times in the past in school walked by me and for a moment, and I don't know them. I was never in any context with them outside of school. I mentioned only context with no conversation, pulled up next with a car. That's recorded and confessed involved with military, foreign, and domestic, involved criminally involved with the body dumping spots, criminal uses of Saudis for their offensive evidence perception crime rules, identity theft crime rules, with drug clicks into various natures of courts, with the serial killer's body dumping spot, with the businesses next to it, and with intercity through time. Sequence shifts tied to that too. Confessions from strangers that then about that, about those locations with the ones associated with the identity thefts. All kinds of medical corruption, all kinds of gun crimes, knife crimes, bug spray, all kinds of crimes on off Paul Manafort Drive, on off all the systems of CCSU, crime acts with their databases, all kinds of crimes with the corner of criminal uses of people with their ties into branch in my town, criminally associated with CCSU through time. With Washington, D.C., and with Trinity College, crime acts on off campus, the same ones facilitated to it, with foreign families, like from Puerto Rico, involved with identity theft, sequence shifts with them, various natures of crime with them, overt criminal enterprises, the witness protection program for Billy Grasso, crimes with child sex offenders, with forensics clicks, crimes in the past with the killer in that, and with the location of the body dumping, all kinds of natures of crimes with that, with the Fianza family and with Dillon's, with the state judicial branch office, houses next to it criminally involved, and with houses on and off to Highway Hague Dog Lane and the Bone Turnpike criminally involved with that, and with extended family members of the person who came in the fourth grade, criminally involved with the O'Briens, and wherever there were crime rules leading up to the 2006 case with Luskin, and with what they were involved with the Sion-Fag-Leon family, and the Russians involved with the fake news crime acts and crimes on off a Russian lady downtown in a Club Blue, and whatever they're doing with the identity thefts, attaching me to fake sequences, fake locations, and ties to this chick Casper. Never had a conversation with my life. I explained how he was used for a cichlids chef in the past. The only time he started a fight with me, I don't know him, and that was like in what, eighth grade. See, then that went around right around the time of Greg Kylo's reported shooting, is when he got involved with the foreign and domestic criminal involved downtown Hartford, and with on off Yale College, on off UConn criminally involved, with the same families with database crimes. That's why they put Heather Hansen and Joe DeMoro and Ray Colello, the one with the extended family members with the identity thefts, the drug crimes, further, and evidence crimes further with the forensics collects, and with the child sex offenders involved with them crimes with the courts, and with Sandy Hook, with prison clicks, and their extended family members too of the O'Brien family with that. See, we have a lot of families that work at places. Doesn't mean that we have misprision, I believe is the word, misprision criminality, where they're individually grouped and together needing to hide each other's lies like a gang, and buying as what's keeping the gangs, what's keeping tactically forsaken areas, What's keeping identity thefts blamed and needing blamed and acted, maintaining it blamed on racism and prejudice. So they keep all roles, preventing equality of fact treatment nature to demonstrate the uses of the lie progressions and the lie progression cover-up natures, uses of fake sides of fact treatment nature, justification styles, physical delusions, systemic, only they realized in some ancient times. It's your mind. So I want to thank you, species value nature system. Do you understand? So we need response to acts. People come on too with aggression. No one comes on with care anyway. To acts. So that only people care about how the others think for them. How to hide how titles are used criminally. That needs to pretend that it's against dictators. Mandated law means allow someone to demonstrate recorded interbranch for predators. So, let's go.